Egyptian culture is famous for its humor, as Egyptians love to play with light-hearted language to make a point, and they also use irony as well. Marhaban bir Misrihi. Welcome to Wisdom of Africa, your weekly wisdom dosage. I am Karen. Today we are going to go through five Egyptian proverbs. Proverb number 1. News that is worth money today will be free tomorrow. The irony of that one. It's worth money today. Tomorrow it will be free. What does that mean? That means that it could be a top secret today and not known by very many people, in which case, okay, it's hot off the press, and somebody might even coerce you into you're gonna have to give me 5 mangoes before I tell you that one. But actually, if you only waited 2 weeks and held on to your mangoes, within 2 weeks the secret will be out, everybody will know what's going on, and you don't need to pay for this news. So what is that telling us? You don't need to dig, you don't need to go around gossiping and trying to find information that is just because it has just happened. Take your time, don't worry, it will come out and everybody will know about it, and it will be free without you offending anybody, paying for it, or doing anything that otherwise you wouldn't have wanted to do. So, proverb number 2. Proverb number 2 says, to fast for so long and then break one's fast for an onion. Again, the irony. You fasted for so long only to break your fast with an onion. Trust me, if that was me, if I had fasted for so long, I would break my fast with a chunky piece of steak. Anyway, what that proverb is telling us is there is no point sacrificing so much to only then give in by taking up something that is the worst of its kind. Why would you sacrifice so much? For example, let's talk about going through education. Yeah, you've had your primary school education, you've had your secondary school education, you've had your university degree. That is you going through this fasting for a very long period. You've done all that. Instead of waiting perhaps to get a job and then earn an honest living, what you do is you take an onion by maybe breaking into your neighbor's house and stealing something, and then you end up in jail. You would have broken your fast for the worst of its kind. What's the point? I leave you with that one. Think about it. When you sacrifice, make sure you break your fast with something that is worth that sacrifice. Proverb number 3. Have you gathered by now that number 3 is actually my favorite number? 1, 2, 3. Anyway, proverb number 3. Proverb number 3 says, he who eats alone chokes on food. You eat alone, you choke on your food. Simple as. This is so straightforward. You wouldn't really go and start saying this to a stranger because you don't want to share food with a stranger, but it will be light-hearted. It will be with people that you're familiar with, family members, friends. You say to them whilst they're eating or whilst you have your own food. For example, I'll show you, like I have my bread here with me. He who eats alone chokes on their food. I'm not going to eat alone because I want to share my food with someone. So basically what you do is the art of sharing. We as Africans should share our food with our fellow Africans. Do not eat alone, otherwise you're going to end up choking. we're talking about sharing food. I didn't know that actually Africa is fed by food that comes from Ukraine. Very good example. If Ukraine can share food with us, we can also share food with our friends, our neighbors, and people that are close to us. So next time you're eating food, glare in your loved one's eyes and say to them, "He who eats alone chokes on his food." Okay, I now come to proverb number 4. Just be silent. We kept silent. He came in with his donkey. We kept silence. He came in with his donkey. Who wants a donkey in their house? I certainly don't. Take a moment and think about what this proverb is saying. If you keep quiet about someone that's wronged you or something that you're not happy about, before you know it, you're gonna have a donkey in your house. So what this is teaching us is that if somebody does something that you're not happy about, if somebody behaves in a way that you're not happy about, call them out about it. Tell them about that mistake before it becomes a donkey. Our cultures generally teach us to be humble, not to talk back, not to challenge people. But the way life is at the moment, if you don't speak up for yourself, if you don't challenge these things, example, racism, if you're being discriminated against, anything, these are just examples. Of course, there are 100 other examples out there. If you don't do anything about it, very soon, he will come in with a donkey. Let's nip things in the bud. Yeah? If somebody is being audacious with their mistake, call them out on it. Because before you know it, not very long, there will be a large donkey in your house. It's going to leave you a mess, and it will be very difficult to deal with. So, do not keep quiet. Challenge those things that need to be challenged before they become a problem. Okay. Last but not least, we come to our last proverb, which is proverb number 5. Proverb number 5 says, "Stretch your legs to the end of your quilt." So stop a moment. When you think about a quilt, normally quilts are used in colder countries. Generally, Africa is warm. So let's interchange the quilt to a blanket. Yeah? What we're trying, or what this proverb means or is trying to teach us, is that only stretch your legs to the end of your quilt. Otherwise, you're going to be cold. You're going to be cold if the quilt doesn't, if your legs go beyond that quilt or beyond that blanket. This is teaching us to live within our means. If you can't afford something, if you can't afford to drive a Mercedes just because your neighbor is driving a Mercedes, for crying out loud, ride your bike. It's actually more healthy for you to ride your bike than driving a Mercedes whereby you're stretching yourself or your legs beyond the end of the quilt. So what this is telling us is you don't have to overextend to get things to prove a point or to show that you fit in with others. Live within your means. As the saying goes, knowledge without wisdom is like water in the sand. So, if you liked my video today, please subscribe to Haynock TV. Better still, why don't you leave me some comments? Is there any proverbs that you enjoyed? Is there anything that I didn't break down? I actually really did enjoy the Egyptian proverbs because they really are ironic. However, they actually really do make sense, and they teach us a lot. So, until next time, bye-bye.